Horror has always been a strange genre of film for me. The genre seems to be poisoned by the fact that it shoves overused tropes down the viewer's throat at every chance it gets. If you've seen more than one horror film, then you'll likely know what I'm talking about. Examples of these overused tropes would be things like vampires, zombies, or groups of main characters splitting up and running into a conflict as a result of that, or the seemingly frail and weak girl being a scary demonic ghost or villain in the movie. And then of course you have your jump scares, cabins in the woods that are haunted, and so on and so forth. Now, using tropes in media is sort of inherently unavoidable because a trope is just a common theme that exists in media. But the problem lies in the overuse and the overabundance of these tropes, which is exactly what horror tends to do a lot of the times. The issue with using tropes over and over again in a lazy manner is that you end up with a situation where the film feels extremely stale, and this is exactly how I feel about Corpse Party: Tortured Souls. This anime is about a group of students who have a friend who's transferring to another school. So they all perform this sort of ceremonial ritual to ensure they will always be friends with each other no matter how far away they are. During this little ritual, they all tear off a little paper charm and keep it with them. The students then mysteriously have the classroom floor they're standing on collapse beneath them, and they fall into an abandoned elementary school mysteriously. So the first episode revolves around two of the girls in the group, Naomi and Seiko. So they attempt to find a way to escape out of this mysterious, dilapidated school. Now, when trying to find out how to do this, they make a couple of critical mistakes that are mind-boggling to me, and that no normal human being in this situation would ever make. The first of which is deciding to go to sleep in the infirmary of the school. Why would you ever decide it's a good idea to take a comfy, nice nap in an abandoned, strange building you just woke up in? This just really took me out of the experience, because it really seemed like it was lazy writing in an attempt to move the plot forward and create a source of conflict. Which is exactly what happens, because later on we see Seiko leave Naomi alone in the infirmary to go look for her piece of paper from the little ritual her and her classmates did. And what do you know, surprise surprise, something bad happens to Naomi as a result of Seiko splitting up and leaving her alone. I'm sure I haven't seen this trope done a million times before in horror. But, to be fair, Naomi does yell at Seiko for leaving her alone in the room when Seiko comes back, so at least the show acknowledges how dumb it is a little bit. But then it immediately unredeems itself when Seiko starts to cry and run away because she's sad at Naomi for yelling at her, further splitting them up again so we can have more convenient conflict in the plot. Naomi decides to be the bigger person and apologize for yelling at Seiko. She comes up a hallway and finds Seiko hanging in a bathroom stall mysteriously. She tries to save her life by putting a bucket under her, but then she fails to, and Seiko dies by the end of episode 1, and it's implied that a ghost spirit is the one that caused Seiko to hang herself. Now, the problem I have with this entire plot is that it relies on the characters being mind-numbingly dumb in order to create conflict, mainly Seiko, as she makes the most stupid decisions in the plot. It takes me out of the experience completely, and makes these characters very unbelievable as a result. And to be fair, characters don't always act 100% realistically in most anime, or in most media really. Usually in film there's always going to be certain levels of abstraction or unrealistic events. The problem comes when you stretch the character's logic so far in order to create a scenario in which they take certain actions that influence the plot in a way that makes no sense. This is exactly the problem with the first episode of Corpse Party. It feels like every scenario could have been handled much better if the characters just stopped and thought things through. But I'd like to know what you guys have to say about this. Leave a comment down below if you have any thoughts on the subject, or just on the video in general, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.